Welcome back into Wave 3 Listens Live. I'm Michael Vanover filling in for John this week, and we're joined now by a familiar face to the program, somebody that joins us each and every week, and that's Marcus Warren. Marcus, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Good, good. Warren Wealth Management and Tax Planning, and Marcus, it's good to have you back. So we were just talking in the break. One of the things we're going to talk about is saving for retirement today.
Yes.
And a stat that you were telling me, 1 in 3 Americans has nothing saved for retirement. Is that right? That seems like a crazy stat to me.
Yeah, so, you hear, or people may or may not hear, that we are in this, what they call a retirement crisis, where they're finding out, more studies are coming in, that people haven't saved enough. And if they have, they have too much risk in their portfolio, so they're at risk of potentially losing some of it. And one of the stats that's out there is the fact that 1 in 3 Americans have nothing saved for retirement. And it really even gets worse than that, because about half of Americans currently right now have $10,000 or less saved for retirement. And so 1 in 3 have nothing saved for retirement.
Yeah.
And, life happens to people. You have these plans of putting money away for retirement, but you have bills, things come up,
Sure.
and then they never get to that point. But the bottom line is you have to do something. You have to pay yourself first, and a lot of it should go to your retirement plans.
And another stat that stood out to me was that 27% of women, is that right? The 27% more likely to have
Yes.
less in savings than a man. Is that right? That's just so the stat gets crazier and crazier.
Yeah. So women on the other hand, and I think the statistic is 27. They have 27% less than men in retirement, and that's simply because number one, they make 80 cents on the dollar
Right.
for a man in that same position. And so that already puts them behind the 8 ball. And then on top of that, in order to be on the same financial level, women basically have to save, put 20% away versus men having to just put 10% away. And so those are
Right.
discrepancies there too. So it's interesting.
One of the things that you hear a lot, people talk about is free money. Free money with employers.
Yes.
401k matches. So is it really free money? And if so, how many folks do you think or that you see miss out on that opportunity?
Yeah, so U.S. News and World Report put out a pretty good statistic. So 25% of workers, they miss out on about a little over $1,300 a year in that company match, which means that there's 25% of employees are not contributing enough to get that company match. So they're basically leaving free money on the table. And when you add all that up, that is $24 billion that's just left out there that employees aren't utilizing. And that's just free money. Everybody likes
And
stuff
it is
that's
free money.
Right.
Right.
Just contribute up to the match, get that free money, and then there you go.
Well, people watching right now, obviously they may say, I fit one of these criteria, one of these buckets that Marcus is talking about. They can call you over at Warren Wealth Management and they can talk to you, right? And it doesn't take a long time to talk to you to figure out kind of their situation, and you're willing to help them, right?
Yeah, if you're close or in retirement, then we do have a phone number that's on the screen, or better yet, you can go to warrenwealth.net. We also have my calendar on there, where you can go to talktomarcus.com and you can schedule a quick 15-minute phone call, and we can basically find out where you are, where you want to be, and see if there's some opportunity to help you get to where you need to be.
Now, Marcus, like a lot of different categories that come onto this program, it's a competitive marketplace. There's a lot of people that help with financial advice and investing in this community. What makes you guys specifically different, and why people should go with you?
Well, there's so many financial advisors and
Sure.
consultants out there, and where we tend to add the most value is, in addition to retirement planning and investment management, we also do tax planning. And a lot of times, or really most times, most advisory firms don't do that. They tell you to go talk to a CPA, and that causes a lot of confusion because the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. We do that all in-house because we have tax experts, enrolled agents, things of that nature, that basically know about tax law, tax theory, the tax code. And of course, when you couple that with investment management, then the client's better off.
So when you look at retirement, people, and you're saying, what kind of lifestyle do you want to have? What are you accustomed to? What are some rules of thumb that you kind of use, numbers wise? Is it X amount of years of income? If somebody's sitting there doing the math and they're looking at their accounts, am I there, am I not? Of course, they can talk to Marcus, but if they're watching right now, what would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them this. I would tell them that you're going to have some sort of nest egg for retirement. There's two numbers out there that I just want to give people, just baseline numbers. Number one is healthcare, right? Health equals wealth. The average couple who is 65 years old is set to spend about $285,000 on health care alone during retirement, during a 20-year retirement, and that's with Medicare, right?
Is that $285,000 per couple?
No, $285,000 total.
Total.
For health care in retirement. Okay. And so when you think about just the rising cost of health care, you're looking at, in 2005, that number was $240,000. Right. And so it's continually going up and up and up. So you have to prepare for that. And the biggest thing is let's talk about food, right? Let's talk about Mickey D's. Let's talk about retirement, right? So that same couple, 65 years and older, a 20-year retirement. You're going to eat 3 meals a day, and we're going to say it's just $5 a day a piece, right?
Which is cheap anymore.
Which is cheap. 365 days. And this is not even splurging at the Dizzy Whiz or Chipotle or Chipotle, whatever they call it. It's just a $5 meal.
Right.
That is going to cost you $219,000 at minimum. At minimum in retirement, a 20-year retirement. Oh. So there's a lot of those numbers out there. And the scary thing is, and I don't mean to scare, where's the camera? I don't mean to scare everyone or anything like that, but I got to give you one more. So Social Security, right? Or social insecurity is what people are calling it these days. Because there used to be 3 pillars of retirement income. You used to have your pension, then you have Social Security, and then you will have your personal savings. Right. So we already know that pensions are extinct, gone the way of the dodo bird. And then because only 15% of companies right now even have a pension, and then we already talked about personal savings, or the lack thereof, right? People aren't saving. And then last you have Social Security. And so most people rely solely on Social Security. And because of that, and what scares me the most is that if we stay on our current track as far as the government and debt and these unfunded liabilities, by 2033, Social Security is set to be cut by 23%. That means it's only going to be able to pay 77 cents on the dollar, right? And right now, 27 million people are able to stay above the poverty line simply because of their Social Security income. And if that's cut, those things change. And so that's why you hear about all these, this retirement crisis and things of that nature.
Yeah, just looking around the room right now, the studio audience, those are numbers. I mean, that's almost $500,000 just on McDonald's and healthcare cost in retirement. So, I mean, these are big time numbers. What would, obviously saving, putting some money away each paycheck, coming up, investing, all of these things. But what would you say to somebody that is really, living paycheck to paycheck or near paycheck to paycheck, and they don't want to put themselves in a really tough position? What are some helpful tips that you might give them?
Well, number one, you really do have to pay yourself first. People hear it time and time again, but it's even more important now. Put money away for yourselves. Number one, start off with that emergency fund, right? You need to have some sort of emergency fund. Start there, and then slowly but surely just start to put money into some sort of retirement account. It doesn't have to be thousands of dollars. You can start with $25, $50 a month if possible, but the bottom line is you have to start now, because just like I said, those pillars of retirement income down the line, they may not be there, and it's going to be personal responsibility.
Well, and I think too, with the compounding interest and things, if people can just carve out a little bit and they can save and invest, it's going to compound over the years, and it's going to make a huge difference in the end.
Albert Einstein, compounding is the 8th wonder of the world, he said.
There you go. Look at that.
I think he said
I learned something new today, as always, with Marcus. All right, one more time, if you could, tell people how to get in touch with you and the easiest way to talk to Marcus.
Yeah, it's right there on the screen. If you go to talktomarcus.com, my calendar pops up. You can schedule a quick 15-minute phone call. All that we ask is that you are close or in retirement, and we'll be able to find out where you are, where you need to be, and see if we can help you out there.
I mean, 15 minutes sounds like a no-brainer, so hopefully people take advantage of that for sure. Yep. Marcus, thank you so much for being here. Warren Wealth Management and Tax Planning. It's always good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back. We've got more to get to. We're going to talk to Mike Hook from Touch of Color Collision when we come back on Wave 3 Listens Live.